This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
The aftermath of every social revolution brings about change. Cultural norms and landmarks shift as our minds and hearts expand beyond the familiar. To everything, there is a season and a time to every purpose in the land of the living. This is our time to renew, revive, and restore the hope lost to the busyness of life. This is our time to dig again and rebuild from the storms of our past on a solid footing that holds. Welcome to The Foundation.
The Foundation. Foundation. Foundation.
The Foundation with Heart Grant is brought to you by Alive, Bahamas Welding and Fire, Burger King, Commonwealth Bank, Da Vinci Printing Innovators, Kelly's Home Center, Hinder Tile, Ports International, Print Masters, and Wendy's.
The Foundation. The Foundation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant in your company. The Foundation live and in full effect on this absolutely gorgeous Thursday afternoon. It's Thursday. I feel like Wednesday. It's a short week this week, so we're out here being able to do the best we can. I want to shout out to my good, decent people over at Spa Week. We were out there yesterday, had a good time, man, over at Baja Retreat. I hope you guys go down there. I went to an event last evening. Somebody come whisper to me, Howard, I was listening to you. I want to get one of these things for my wife, Praise God. Make sure you get her rubbed down properly. Go down to Spa Week, guys. Spa Week 2025, April 20th to the 26th. Online bookings available. 20% off all retail products. You can be able to get the purchase the Spa Week gift certificates online at www.bajaretreat.com. They're right there on East Bay Street, opposite Scotiabank. Give them a call at 323-6711, 323-6711, or hit them up 544-1855, 544-1855. Check them out. Call Mercedes at the front desk. What's the next one? Dwayne Well. Oh, Jesus, I forget the young lady name. Well, I know it was her daddy name. Her daddy named Dwayne. And the mommy named some Welty. I don't know. She put two names together as her. Both of them there at the front desk. They can be able to take good care of you down there at Spa Week. Actually, my guys, they can take good care of you, man. You can be able to get yourself relaxed in those areas. Remember, we talked about this. We talked about the fact that you got to be able to look at some things beyond just being able to get the mental alleviation, right? Find a way to be able to calm yourself for a lot of the issues that you're going with, especially men. We don't deal with that, but you want to be able to check those things out and take care of those things, all right? Guys, I got to shout out my good, decent people over at AFS Insurance Agents and Brokers. They got everything laid out for you. Make sure you go and check them out. We are getting into another month, and you're still out here on the government road riding dirty. You need to stop it in Jesus' name. Get yourself taken care of, man. Go out there, get your insurance. It's one of the more affordable insurances on the island. I want to say the most, but I don't want nobody call me Howard. We're a little bit cheaper than them. No. They're good, man. They're very good. AFS Insurance Agents and Brokers. You make sure you go and check them out. 3411 AFS, located number 407 Blue Hill Road South. You want to be able to go and check them out. Actually, my good friend Ethric Bow or Mr. Richardson, they'd be more than happy to accommodate you accordingly in those particular areas. I got to shout out my good, decent people, man, while we're here. Got to tell you about Coco Plum Wellness. We've been talking about that. We've been talking about the hydrocolonics and being able to get yourself cleansed out and cleaned up and whatnot, and being able to do that. You want to be able to call her Dr. Teresa Adley Smith. You've been looking at it now. Your eyes feel a little watery. Talk to me. You get dark around your eyes, the back of your neck a little bit darker. You don't know what's happening with you. The top of your stomach hard, all these things like that. You need an evacuation. I speak decent in the middle of the day, right? You know what you need. You got to go down there and take that thing. It's called a hydrocolonic. It's not invasive at all. It's not a strong thing. You set it at a 45-degree angle, and it goes, the warm water, it goes up in your colon and actually hydrates it and allows you to have an evacuation. A lot of persons, especially women, know that this is extremely crucial. You can't be having a casual conversation with people and say, girl, I only going once this week. Ma'am, you need to stop, okay? You need to get yourself taken care of. Look at that. Call my good, decent friend and Dr. Teresa Adderley Smith, 445-8111. 25% off on Mondays and Fridays. Just let her know you heard it here on the foundation. And 50% off, what today is? The 24th? 50% off tomorrow. You get 50% off tomorrow. And you won't get another 50% off until the 25th of May. So book your thing right now, and the booking is CocoPlumWellnessBahamas.com. CocoPlumWellnessBahamas.com, and they could be able to take good care of you in those areas. Guys, I'm here in the studio. Make sure you pick up your Guardian newspaper. All the information's in there. BPL prices hike. In the short term, all the information's in there. You're going to be able to talk about it. We're going to get to these at the second hour. I have some special guests in the studio with me. You guys have been calling me and asking me questions about Howard, well, what water and sewage doing, and why they didn't come to your thing, and why did you ask me more questions? I don't work for the people. So I just want to be able to, I extended myself to the executive chairman, and he was able to give me in good contact with some great people who could be able to provide us with all the information, allow them to introduce themselves all the way from water and sewage.
Thank you, Howard. It's great to be here today with you. I feel like I've received a wealth of information already.
Yeah.
But I'm Nicolette Eldon, and I'm responsible for public affairs and marketing at WSC.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kira Carey Curtis. I am the manager for billing, adjustments, and the field service department at
Kira
Water.
Carey.
Curtis.
Kira Carey Curtis. I can't even say that fast. Kira Carey Curtis. Okay, go ahead.
Yes,
Right.
so I'm the manager at Water and Sewage, responsible for billing and the field service team.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Howard, and good afternoon, Bahamas. Thanks for having us. I am Montgomery Miller, the Senior Manager for Strategic Coordination at WSC.
It's wonderful to have you guys in the studio with us today. A lot of persons have called us, and I had some strategic questions asked to me that I couldn't answer. Before the show, I was able to give you some background as to why, not necessarily that this wasn't something that prompted, it didn't actually come to before me, right? But I'm very grateful for my listeners who always kind of reach out and say to me, Howard, these are some of the concerns that we have as a community. Go and find these particular things out. You have shifted your billing cycle. I think it was you, Ms. Curtis, that was speaking to the Water and Sewage executive thing that I saw.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
correct.
It was you, right? You shifted your billing cycle from, I think it was once a quarter, to every 3 months, and to now once a month. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so we have our plans to shift from the quarterly billing to monthly billing. And fundamentally, the move to monthly billing is about making it easier for customers to manage their water bill. Instead of facing a larger quarterly monthly payments, customers now have smaller, more predictable monthly payments. One of the major drivers for the move to monthly billing is to reduce substantially the risk to customers for high bills due to undetected leaks over the extended current 30-day billing cycle period. So this will reduce the risk and burden of the customer and also conserve more water for legitimate use. So currently, the water and sewage minimum quarterly bill is $36. So moving to monthly, it will be $12 a month for the minimum.
The average thing that persons pay right now. There was, I know this ain't what we talked about, but I have to ask you this question. Because as we talk, I am reminded of news cycles in the past, right? There was a time that you had a significant reduction. It was there was something that a campaign that you actually created where persons could be able to come in and pay 50% of their bill or something like that,
Right.
and you would have given them an opportunity to kind of just alleviate
Right.
all the others. So talk to me about that.
Well, just before we get to that, Howard, I just want to make it very clear that we haven't implemented monthly bills yet.
Not just as yet.
We're preparing. So we're just talking to our customers about it, just informing them that this is what they can expect. in Q2 of this year. So we haven't implemented monthly bills just yet. And just for the information of our listeners, we've been doing quarterly bills from the inception of WSC, which was in 1976. So this is a welcome to the corporation. But going now to answer your question, we have a campaign right now, Reconnect and Save. And you can get up to 50% off your outstanding balance if you have one. And
$3,000 these people owe.
yeah, so up to 50% off.
Bring
Just
me
come in.
$1,500 and get the thing taken care of now. You need the government water. Why? You tired of that? Why is your water dark? Let's talk about anyway. This is a whole different story. I don't get in people business. You got the well. You know your well, Daddy. You ain't fixed the filter and the thing yet, and you trying to figure out why you got acne and this and that, and you 74. You don't understand. It's the water. You got to come down here and be able to get yourself. I just put a plug.
No,
there.
I'm so glad you brought that
praise
up.
God, I
And
gotta let it
Mr.
know.
Miller he loves to talk about first of all, our water meets World Health Organization standards. So we have a world-class facility down at Prospect Ridge where we test our water regularly. And I know Mr. Miller loves to talk about private well testing, and we tested almost 500 wells. Was that last year or was that year before?
Year before.
Year before last. And what we found was alarming. So if Mr. Miller wants to hit on that, we can touch on that a
I
little
want to
bit.
ask you this question, Mr. Miller, and I'm grateful that you guys are really here with me to talk about this today. I'm from Grand Bahama. I'm from 8 Mile Rock, right? And I was always in Key Club and always in things that required me to be able to come to Nassau, right? And we had fresh water in 8 Mile Rock and well water and everything in Grand Bahama. And when I came here, the very first time traveling by myself, I was parched. I was thirsty. And I got in the airport. This had to been mid-90s to mid-90s, right? And when I drank that water, salt water, I said, oh my God, I can die. What is Nassau doing to me? The water has increased significantly since then to now. Talk to me about that sort of a journey that actually led you to refining, dealing with what you had to deal with, and being able to provide such world-class water, potable water for persons to be able to consume.
Well, I mean, there's several reasons. I mean, we'll start with the private well situation, and you mentioned coming from Grand Bahama. Grand Bahama is one of the Pine Islands, so you still will see native pine forests on Grand Bahama. One of the challenges, the blessings and the curses of New Providence, the city, is that the overwhelming majority of the population live on this island. And one of the challenges that you have with that is that we lose a lot of the natural vegetation to have access to good potable groundwater reserves. So as Ms. Eldon pointed out, when we did a test in New Providence, and there's certain areas where this is a particularly acute problem. So when you have highly dense populations, and we still generally use septic tanks on New Providence. So we're putting sewer into a septic tank, and it's untreated essentially, and ultimately that ends into the groundwater.
I just taste something.
I'm sorry. And so this is the cycle, right? So the reason why WSC as a utility exists is to, in the first instance, make sure, as Ms. Eldon pointed out again, that we provide to every citizen, every resident of the country, safe, potable being drinking water. The water that we produce is at a standard that you can consume it. You can put it in your pot, you can drink it directly out of the tap. It's quality water. And so that's important because when it comes to sanitation, since we don't have a complete solution for that as yet, and we use these septic tanks, we have to make sure the public is safe. And so persons who are utilizing those private wells, if you're using it, we encourage you to come back to WSC, and we encourage you to test your water and certainly to disinfect it. But it's unlikely that the average person is going to, on a regular basis, go out there and test their own water, chlorinate it and the rest of it. So that's why WSC exists.
Well, what happened is that since I have, I got to tell you all my business. When we get in conversations like this, and I travel in my mind and remember injunctions throughout the conversation where I've had this particular experience, right? When I moved to Nassau, I had like a shifting clouds come on my face. I didn't know exactly what. I thought it had to be something to do with the water, right? So my skin was like porcelain. You need to stop, right? So, and I came to Nassau and I had like a shifting thing on my face. And so what I did, because I was living in a space that didn't have public water, didn't have
Private well.
Private well, right? Well, it had a private well, right? So I knew there was something with the water, right? So I would put it in the bucket and put bleach in it.
Oh, Lord.
I'm telling you the truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? I try to
Especially
chlorinate this
with soil,
myself.
you know.
I try to chlorinate the thing myself, right? So I said this to you to say that this is when I first moved to Nassau, and then I got my own space and so forth and so on, right? I say that to say that a lot of persons are dealing with these particular things, and this has just become a part of life.
Yeah.
They don't know life outside of this. And, you know, whatever the illness is, if you take a consideration, depending on where you live, your proximity to people who throw in batteries outside that's spilling down, and you have no consideration
know.
to these
That's
things. So you don't know how you're getting sick.
Yes.
And you don't necessarily know the value. People just look at these things and see dollar signs, and they say things like, well, I can't find another bill. My God, I can get this water free. I already didn't pay electricity. And not taking into consideration that this water, what you cook in your rice with, my God, it just won't be decent. You then boil your chicken in this water. You're feeding this to the dog. Maybe all that pot cake, and I don't know. You're feeding this thing to the dog, and you take no consideration that this could be actually making people sick.
Sick. So one of the things we also found was that people think, well, I'm only brushing my teeth. I'm only bathing in it. So
My God.
how bad could it be? And that's the danger in it, because it's still being absorbed into your pores. You're still consuming some of it when you're brushing your teeth. And that's why we're encouraging people
That's exactly
to
what you're saying.
please come on over to WSC. We're making it very easy. You know, just get on our system. You want clean, potable, safe water.
I'd like you to tell me about the meters. I see that you guys are being able to do something. Sorry, the monthly billing is being supported by a rollout of about 65,000
Correct.
smart meters. Talk to me about the smart meters.
All right, so this is a quantum shift in the way that we do business, and we're very excited about this transition. Pretty much every time I speak about it, I use the simple analogy. But water and sewage is transitioning from the bubbler to the smartphone, or in this case, to the smart meter. And there are several advantages, particularly to the
The
customer.
bubble don't break now. You always reliable on the bubble.
Yeah.
The bubble don't break.
But the bubble.
You done slammed that on the ground 15 times.
That's all right.
But you don't have the same level.
You can't get no Facebook on it.
Yeah, your Facebook, can't do your WhatsApp. You know, you're limited.
You're limited,
And
exactly.
so we are trying to make sure. And one of the key issues, one of the reasons why in our analysis, a lot of customers who used to be WSC customers made this transition to private wells was because of high bills when they had undetected leaks. And we appreciate that. Sometimes you have a leaking toilet, as we spoke before we went live, and customers are not aware. Or someone, the gardener chops the pipe and it's leaking in the ground for an extended
He don't say
period of
nothing.
time, and he doesn't tell you.
Why the grass so green over there?
Exactly, right? And
You don't know.
so there, it's been like a perfect storm, because if you wait for 90 days for this leak to be going on undetected, you end up with a shock when this bill comes, and you argue with WSC and say, look, I did not use the water, and that's true, right?
Yeah.
And so we're concerned about that from a customer point of view. And even though we process a significant amount of leak rebates for customers, that's not a sustainable position. So monthly billing reduces the risk down to 30 days as opposed to 90 days, so that cuts it by a third. And also the smart metering allows us to have the information directly from the meter, because now you're talking about technology that is monitoring on a daily basis what is the customer's normal flow. And if you watch some of the U.S. television, there are some utilities even in Florida where you'll see a notification. They send you an alert that basically says, we've noticed an increase in your usage. This is where WSC is seeking to go. So we want a customer to know very soon after your toilet is leaking that there's something you need to check. Call your plumber and let's rectify that.
The entire concept, as I sit here and I listen, takes me back to this idea of conservation for the entire island, not necessarily for you and your, it's definitely going to be able to assist you from a micro perspective within your home, but from a macro level, the entire community, the country, the nation, we could be able to see ourselves not necessarily using so much water because of this technology. Is that the expectation?
Absolutely.
Yes.
You hit it on the head,
Exactly where
because
we're going.
this is all about conservation. I mean, because water is a precious and a scarce resource.
Yeah.
The method that we employed several years ago to utilize reverse osmosis as the principal means. And again, the whole idea of New Providence being so dense, there was a need. There was just not sufficient water through the mechanism.
You used to go to the wells in Andros.
We used to barge from Andros.
Right.
And of course, barging from Andros, the challenge was that it's subject to weather conditions. So if there's really rough weather, which happens, especially during
ain't got
the
no water.
summer months, you had
A hurricane.
You may be old enough to remember water scarcity on New Providence when there were times when there was low pressure.
I was in
no
8 Mile.
water. You in Grand Bahama.
We was washing our hair and bathing in the well.
But I can assure you that there are some Bahamians who can think back to that time when we used to have issues, particularly here in the city, in the capital, with water shortages. So we've addressed that. But reverse osmosis is an expensive form of water production. It's very energy intensive. It's reliable, but we want to conserve and make sure that really the optimal amount of water that is needed on a daily basis, weekly, monthly basis is the amount that's going to the consumer and being paid for.
I want to be able to ask one question. I know this is nothing that we actually structured, but there's some persons that are texting me right now. Guys, you can hit me up 422-4796, 422-4796. I want to be able to do this. It says, what percentage of our overall water production is being made by Consolidated Water Company? They want to be able to ask that particular question. I don't know whether or not this is something that you can answer.
Yeah, I don't know if we could.
Yeah, a significant amount. For New Providence, they produce the overwhelming majority of the water production. We are relying on and we're balancing the use of the well fields as much as we can. And that is, for instance, right now, unfortunately, we find ourselves in what we think is a drought period. If you notice that there hasn't been a heavy rainfall for quite a
Everything
period of time.
dry.
Yeah, it's dry.
My grass is dry.
And so
Yeah.
this is another reason why when we talk about resiliency and climate adaptation, we rely on salt water or seawater reverse osmosis, because in some instances you can't always rely on rainwater. And so this is a challenge that we have. So we're relying on that RO production, but we're seeking to try and mitigate it as much as we can where groundwater resources are available.
I know you guys are supposed to be able to get out of here. I know you got a meeting to be able to get to, and I'm going to be grateful for you. I'm going to take this quick commercial break. We're going to get back and kind of dive into a few more things. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, quick commercial break, guys. Going to be right back after this.
Foundation. Foundation.
You or a loved one currently under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Our compassionate team is committed to patients and their loved ones. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept all major insurance. With 2 locations to serve you, at Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street, we also ship to the Family Islands. Visit us on Facebook or call Ports at 377-1771.
The Cable Bahamas Group of Companies is proud of the incredible work our Alive Fiber technicians and sales representatives do every day on the front line and behind the scenes. To our loyal customers, we thank you for believing in us as we've hit the 20,000 subscriber mark. We couldn't have done it without you. Not with us yet? What are you waiting for? Join the Alive Fiber family today. Visit alivefiber.com to sign up.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant in your company, The Foundation, live and in full effect on this beautiful Thursday afternoon out here. This is Small Business Thursday. Got to give a shout out before we dive back into this conversation to Dr. Charmaine Bodie. Happy birthday. Dr. Charmaine Bodie, happy birthday. A lot of persons, these people who call me, they say, how would you have to say who it is? But just let them know we say happy birthday. So happy birthday to you, Doctor. Guys, we're sitting in the studio with none other than water and sewage reps being able to talk to us about everything that they got going on. We got Mrs. Eldon, we got Mrs. Curtis, we got Mr. Miller here, Montgomery Miller, being able to talk to us about these particular things. And they're very transparent. I think a lot of persons have been concerned about water. Living here in the city of Nassau, I found, listening to the stories, that the Overhill community, the concentrated community right behind East Bay Street, West Bay Street, in those particular areas, they have some functions, they have some pipes, but those things way back in Carmichael, way in Adelaide, all in the back there, you didn't have, whether it's the resources or the infrastructure to be able to reach those persons. And so this is the concentration of wells that I've seen on the southern part of the island in those particular areas. You're looking to be able to shift that. You've actually put down infrastructure, you've done some stuff. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, well, we've been actively extending our coverage because the goal of WSC is to provide full coverage. We want to make sure that every citizen, every resident of the country has access to safe, potable water supply within our service area. You may have seen in the news in February, the government signed, and the corporation signed a $100 million investment facility with the Inter-American Development Bank. And the first installment of that is $50 million. $8 million of that is assigned to expanding water coverage. And so there's certain areas, some in Abaco, some in Bimini, and a small portion in New Providence as well, where customers are currently not served. They're just a little bit beyond where our mains may have stopped. And so we're extending those mains into those communities. To the customer that the text that you received.
Let me read the text, right? There's a text that came through, and I want to be able to read it for you guys and let you know exactly what's what. So it says that Water and Sewage have plans to implement new pipe systems to improve water pressure flow to its customers.
And so the answer to that is yes. One of the things in the process from last year, WSC embarked upon creating a corporate business plan that takes planning for a 5-year period. So we're trying to be strategic, as you mentioned, and to identify critical issues. One of those things is we have developed what we call a prioritized capital expenditure plan. So to the other text that you mentioned, we need customers to give us their feedback. If they have complaints about any particular area, it is very important.
Yeah, because they called me and tell me.
Yeah, they calling you, but they need to call us.
I can tell you, I don't work to these people places.
So 302-5599, because we have a strong system where we record these complaints. And when we say prioritize, as an example, if we have 100 complaints about a particular main in an area, and this is actually how it works, that informs our team as to which ones are creating the most public pain and pressure. And on that basis, we identify that this is something that we have to replace probably a little bit sooner than another main that may not be causing a problem. And that's how we approach the work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let's see if we can be able to ask a couple of these things. Now, reports indicate that water and sewage is operating the losses at about $35 million over the past 4 years. How is the shift to the monthly billing expected to improve the corporation's financial situation and reduce its dependency on the government subsidies? Talk to me about it.
Okay, so monthly billing is a step towards the modernization and regulation of water and sewage to be in line with the 21st century. So, like we mentioned already, our aim is to improve the customer's ability to pay in a more timely manner. And this helps to avoid disconnections due to forgotten bills and ultimately improve our cash flow ability and reduce us from not receiving the revenue in a timely fashion. So that's how monthly billing is going to help us to overcome some of those operational challenges that we're seeing right now. Also, when you have this, like we talked about with the leak detections, when you have the smaller billing reading periods, both the customer and the corporation is going to have a win-win solution because the customers will be able to not have such high bills.
And you'll have cash flow.
Exactly, and we'll have ultimately the cash flow.
Is there an expectation that as a result of being able to incorporate into the monthly cycle, let's say BPL, cable, whatever I pay on a month-to-month basis, insurance or whatnot, adding another bill to that, you expected that rhythm and understanding that, because, if I don't pay you this month, and I don't pay you next month, I may forget about you.
Exactly. You will.
I didn't forget about you.
I'm going to give you.
Did you pay one this year?
So we did a survey of over 2,000 of our customers where we asked, how do you rate water and sewage when you pay your bill? And resoundingly, almost 2,000 of those persons that we surveyed said water and sewage is the last bill they think about when they're doing their budgeting. Yeah. So that's why this is critical, so that this brings everything in line. So now, when you start to think
how many
of
customers?
your bills,
How many customers? Okay, so we get 300,000 people in the city of Nassau. Okay, we have statistically 399. We got 400,000 people in the country. How many customers are on your grid right now?
Nationally, it's about 65,000. New Providence is a little over 40, a little less than 40,000.
In New Providence?
New Providence,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
45,000 in New Providence?
Those are households.
How you get the water?
Households.
Those are
Households.
households now. So you have
Remember
to-
now, you have
the-
more than one person
The
per household.
2022 census would say that New Providence household ratio is about 3.7, just under 4 persons per household. But you're making a point, which is a point of concern for us as well. Our ratio to BPL, for instance, is significantly less because we do have a proliferation of private wells. This is a
Yes.
concern. It's not as great a concern on the Family Islands where the ratio of electricity to water is virtually
Balanced.
1-to-1,
Yeah.
and it's appropriate. But in New Providence, there is a challenge where we have a significant number of people that are on private wells, and it is a national health concern and a national security concern. Because one of the things that you find is when we go through hurricanes, and God forbid that we have any major hurricane this year, but one of the things that we found is persons who are on private wells are relying absolutely on electricity to produce water. And when there's a, God forbid again, that there's any disruption in power supply.
God forbid, you mean we live here in Nassau, you know?
I know, but still.
Okay, we can talk with you. Other people, praise
Please, please, not today.
God. We ain't getting that.
So
The
but-
power going off.
But the point is, we want to make sure that people have access because the water supply continues despite any of those other challenges. And so that's the reason why when we have an influx, we've had this happen before, where you have an influx of persons come in at a particular point in time and say, hey, we need water right away. Well, it's better to have it available to you, and so you can just turn on the faucet as opposed to us trying to build the infrastructure to you when, it's a crisis situation.
I just sit here and do your business and do your math. You're looking for an expectation of anywhere between $500,000 to $600,000 on a month-to-month basis, with an average of $12 a person for the 45,000 persons that are on your grid here in Nassau to be able to tap into. So just as only annually $6.48 million. Just looking at this and just doing your numbers, how can a corporation of this magnitude that with such a required amount of this is a necessity for life, water. How can you thrive? How can you do your business like this? So with the expectation of just being able to subventions and other opportunities from the central government.
Well, I don't want you to mislead the public. The numbers that were quoted by Ms. Carey, that $36 is the minimum charge, right? So that's not the average charge. The average charge for a consumer is probably more about $48 to $50 per quarter
Okay.
currently,
Okay.
right? So it's a little bit higher than that. And of course, for the large consumers, we could go through if the overall point I think you're making is we're not generating sufficient revenue.
Enough.
Yes, that is true. But government addresses that issue. I mean, through subvention, that's a kind of a national policy position, and they work through that issue. And we are hopeful in due course that, we will come to an equilibrium in that regard.
Okay, so you started to talk about the Inter-American Development Bank. I know you guys got to go, so we're going to take a commercial break, but let's talk about these things. What would you like to put on the table before we go out of here? Because a lot of persons are still being able to hit us up and talk about these particular things and ask me a lot of questions. What do you want to be able to drive home in these last few minutes that you're with us?
So for us, for me, it's if you're not on our system, I think come in and have a conversation with us. Find out what needs to happen in order for you to come on our system. It's imperative. We're making it very easy for you to come on over. And I think our vision is to provide universal access to clean, affordable water and modern sanitization services throughout the Bahamas. And that includes smart infrastructure, financial sustainability, climate resilience, and excellent customer service. Every project we undertake, from monthly billing to smart meters to Family Island expansion, is a step toward the future.
Now, there just like one question I want to be able to ask before we get out of here. Are you intending to bill customers monthly or every 3 months, as it is now? And why are they changing it? Did they consult with the general public on this particular change? So the persons want to know, how do you intend to do this billing, right? Is it going to be, how is it going to be done, and whether or not this is something that you're reaching out, or this is that sort of period now that you're reaching out to the public and saying, this is what our expectations are. Give me some feedback.
Yeah, so this is a part of the strategy. This is our public education and awareness period. We want to make sure, and we're required to ensure, in fact, under IDB requirements, that we inform the public of these type of changes. So this is that process. We're open to receiving all of the feedback, all of the concerns, and we will continue this campaign going forward. And yes, we are making a transition. The customer, that caller may not have heard the entire show. We are making the transition with respect to residential consumers because we already bill monthly for our commercial non-residential consumers. That's the way that works. But for the majority of our customers, which are residential, we're making the transition from quarterly billing to monthly billing by the end of Q2.
So there's an expectation that after everything's rolled out and you have all the proper infrastructure and you expand the way that you're looking to be able to expand both locally and throughout the family islands, that we not only get good potable water that we can be able to cook and clean and ensure that there's a health there, but the second thing is pressure, that you have that consistent pressure, that I don't have to be able to lay on the shower wall when I trying to take a shower and trying to be it on. Oh, Jesus, what happened? No. So you have that sense of consistency in those particular areas. Is that something that you're working on also?
Absolutely. It all works together, right? So if we can be more efficient, if we can conserve water in areas where it doesn't need to be wasted and lost, then that means that we have more water available to supply. And as we mentioned before, as we are able to upgrade the infrastructure, because one of the challenges is where there are, and they're not too many, but where there are challenges with leaking pipes, we're isolating those. Monthly billing is going to help us to identify exactly where water is not going to the customer and it may be lost in the network, in the system. We're targeting those areas, and once we're satisfied in what we call a district meter access or a zone, that everything is watertight in that zone, then we can up the pressures because now we're confident that we can get the water from the point of production all the way to the consumer.
Okay, I like this. So, guys, somebody text me and asked me, Howard, what's the number? 302-5599.
Correct.
Yes.
302-5599. And give them your app so that person could be able to go on and make a complaint and say that they have something, or they can take a picture of one of the wells that are leaking in the road or whatever the case may be. Give them the app, how they can be able to download that.
WSC Mobile Me. You can go to the Play Store and you can just search for WSC Mobile, and the app is right there for download.
I really enjoyed this conversation with you guys.
Thank you.
You can't be
So
strangers
did we.
now. I see all this go all around talking on all of these people. Listen, your customers here, eh? They're sitting right here listening to us on a regular basis. So whatever you're doing as it relates to being able to hit the media beat and doing those things, I'd like you to be able to sit with us and talk to us about what's happening in those areas. I wanna encourage you.
Absolutely. So we do have a roadshow planned. When we know that we have a definitive date planned, we will be coming out to do our media blitz, and throughout the communities in New Providence, our customers will see us. So just listen out for us, but we will be back, Howard, and thank you for the invitation.
I really do appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Water and Sewage Company being able to talk to us about that. Water and Sewage Corporation being able to talk to us about all the great things that they got going on right now. This kind of concept of being able to align ourselves with technology to ensure that we can move with swiftness and consistency towards conservation and make some things happen. So I'm grateful for that. And I want to thank you so much for the opportunity. All right?
All right, thank
Thank
you
you.
for having
Thank you,
us.
We hit everything, right?
Yeah, we did.
Thank
Thank you.
Well done. Well
All
done.
right. Guys, let me take this quick commercial break. When we get back after this.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
Do you have uncontrollable debt? Are you ready to make that move to Fidelity for a stress-free future? These loans have a built-in savings plan that pays you unbeatable interest. Ask about our debt consolidation loans today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Why settle for the typical burger when you can indulge in the Steakhouse Bacon Whopper at BK? The king is raising the stakes with a masterpiece that combines all of your favorite steakhouse flavors. A juicy flame grilled beef patty topped with A1 steak sauce, crispy onions, savory bacon, Swiss cheese, creamy peppercorn ale with fresh lettuce and tomato. It's a steakhouse experience you can hold. Crafted the BK with Steakhouse Bacon Whopper is bursting with flavor. Only available for a limited time at Burger King Nassau.
Spring into savings with BWF Easter Mega Sale. Fresh savings for a blooming fresh season. Deals, 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 and more deals just waiting for you. 2 days of spectacular savings up to 50% off. Selected store-wide Friday, April 25th, and tent sales Saturday, April 26th, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Don't miss it. Be there and save, save, save. BWF Spring Clearance, Easter Mega Sale and Tent Sale. Up to 50% off Friday, April 25th, and sale Saturday, April 26th, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Savings include appliances, small appliances, kitchen and bakeware supplies, outdoor cooking supplies, barbecue grills, griddles, and fryers, lawn and garden supplies, planters and flower pots, household supplies, bears, bunnies, and blossoms, craft supplies, toys, and so much more. BWF, we are more than just our name. Number 13 Wilton Street. Check out our Facebook page. We ship to the Family Island.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, The Foundation, live and in full effect on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. I hope you guys are out there being decent as possible, consciously, with every step that you take. Decency today. Decency today. Yeah, you got to be decent. We're going to be out here, guys, and being able to do that, what we do. I'm grateful to Water and Sewage, man. I like to have these kind of a conversation with them. I don't want to hit them with the general questions and whatnot. I want to remember some things. I want to find out whether or not this is efficient. I want to find out whether or not we're saving money, we making sense. And they were able to answer some great questions for us. I know that you guys have some personal questions that you want to be able to ask them. Make sure you go and check them out. WSC Mobile. You can go check the Apple and the Google Play Store to be able to pick that up and put your complaints on there. And that's one thing that we don't like to do. You want to complain to me, and then you want me to go through the formality of ensuring that your complaint is registered. But you can register that. You could be able to, jump this sort of emotional desire that we have to, you know what, boom, and just kind of blurting out these things. But we could take strategic steps to be able to indicate that we have a grievance. Yeah, do that. Don't fight me. Let's do that. Go down to Water and Sewage Corporation and get your bills taken care of. The government over the past, I don't know how long, over the past 15 years for sure, has been indicating to us that, the purse is getting thin, it's getting light. And they're going to have to find ways to be able to ensure that they can be able to bolster and keep afloat those things that are essential, right? Whether that's corporations such as Bahamas Air, whether that's entities and corporations such as Water and Sewage, NIB, all these particular things, we've seen significant modifications when we thought that these things would be the same way forever. It can't be. It cannot be. It cannot be. We have to figure out a way to be able to get these things up to global standards, to a sense of consistency, persistency, that we could be able to find that there's conservation, that we're saving, that we ain't just leaking money. We're not throwing money into a bucket with a hole in it. These corporations have the responsibility. And if the government has done nothing, they have found the technocrats with the expertise that can be able to ensure that these things get done. And I want to encourage the government throughout all sectors to be able to listen to those technocrats. Sometimes you just have them there and utilize them, and they're almost in a token capacity, but there is talent that exists within the bodies of those corporations, those departments, those entities, that can be able to move us to efficiency if you just give them a chance. Can I say that? Can we talk like this? If you just give them a chance to be able to do what they've gone to school for, the years of experience that they've acquired and accumulated, let them execute the thing and do their job. The one thing I got to be able to give to Obadiah Wilshcombe, the former, who's passed on, the former Minister of Tourism, I got to give it to him that he's never been a micromanager when he stepped in his capacity. Now, for years, I wrestled with this because of the culture that existed before. For years, I wrestled with the idea he has let these people do their own thing. This man don't know what he's doing. For years, he don't know what he's doing. And I have to be able to identify tourism because this is my passion and my love. I love this thing. And so when I watched Obi Wolshcom set in this particular capacity, and he allowed those persons in that space to make the modifications necessary to be able to see a sense of efficiency move in that particular area, to see that this level of management that allowed the talent that exists within the organization to blossom, this is what we needed from true leadership. Now, listen, I tell you, I used to fight Obi for a lot of things. And it never had to do with his posture and his management ability. He was excellent in that particular capacity, and I have to be able to commend him in that area. If you're in this area and you're sitting over, whether that's public service, whether that's over immigration, whatever the entities or the ministry that you sit in, you have to recognize that the talent exists within your body if you would listen to them to get to efficiency, the true growth, development, and a sense of sustainability for the nation. We can do that. So I want to be able to commend those persons over at Water and Sewage for being able to take that step. I know over the past few years you have had your share of media exposure by default, not necessarily something that is by design, right? But you design this particular approach to be able to have good conversation. So all those persons out there, if you want to be able to get yourself back in a good position and you want to be able to get your water reconnected and you had one bill for a long time and child, the bill, my God, I don't know what my $100 and they never fixed the pipe and you got water spilling out every day, gallons of water, you worse than sandals back in the day. You understand? You got to be able to fix this thing. You got to find a way to be able to get these things done. And don't be afraid of being able to move towards formality. Get yourself off of that grid and being able to do that. This is always something, you know what we used to do in Abe Mara? We had city water. We had the water from the island, right? Everybody was able to get water. This is what we did, right? So, but we also had a well. Okay, so on the property that I lived on, everyone had access to, water in the house and so forth and so on. But if the power went off, there was a pump where my great-grandfather used to build some houses. He had some, we used to call it clapboard houses. In that area, there was a well. So we could always, if anything happened, we can always go over there and be able to get water. There's nothing wrong with being able to have a backup. But you have to understand, for the health of your family, for the health of yourself, you want to be able to get this kind of a water and being done, right? So I'm grateful for that conversation, guys. Now, the next part of this thing was supposed to be at 1:00 where we spoke to the guys from the Jet Ski organization. Now, I can call no names, but I did speak with one of them, who connected with others. And after we made this sort of a pronouncement that we'll be able to have them on the show, I got a text from him. And he said to me, Howard, these guys are in a good conversation with the upper-ups, the higher-ups, and we're looking that we're going to be able to get something done. We don't want to squeeze ourselves into a position, and we don't want to be able to have that kind of a conversation right now. I'm not going to fight them. I want to be able to commend them. I want them to be able to go into this negotiation with clarity and understand that this is an entire industry. And they have the responsibility, though we make this sort of a gesture and give a colloquial term to it as wet money, this is a crucial entity for survival of a family and a grouping. So you guys, whatever you're doing, do it with clarity, do it with understanding, and move with that passion and determination. When we get back, we're going to talk about some new movies that's out here and be able to talk about those things. Let's take this quick commercial break, get to news, and be right back after this.
Foundation. The foundation.
The Foundation. We'll be back right after this.
The foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
This is Guardian First Minute News and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. 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 The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, The Foundation. It is a glorious day. On Sunday, I was in church. No, I wasn't at Gosling, right? No, but I want to be able to shout out my church right now. I got to be able to shout out Bahama Harvest being able to really being able to change lives. More specifically, we have over the past 6 weeks been able to do a small group, and that thing was transformative for me and my wife. We was able to do a marriage thing with Pastor Mario Moxie, and being able to do those things. So I'm grateful for that. And the church has always been able to create an avenue and an opportunity for young persons and entrepreneurs and inventors and those persons who are putting things together for their books and whatnot. So, this Sunday was nothing different. Leonardo Newman was able to kind of sell me 2 tickets to be able to come and I think the premiere will be at church.
It's this Friday.
At church, right?
Saturday, yeah.
This Saturday at church, and I bought 2 tickets, right? The movie's called Look Up Child. Tell them, introduce yourself, let them know exactly what the movie is, what this particular concept is, and I had to talk to you. Talk to me about it.
All right, so...
Pull the mic close to your mouth.
Yeah. So the film is called Look Up Child.
Good afternoon. You can start there. Good
afternoon, Bahamas.
Right, please go ahead. Go ahead now. Right, go ahead. Right.
I'm Leonardo Newman, and I'm the director of Look Up Child. The film is produced by Y Christ Media Group and New Hill Productions. Look Up Child is a film about tragedy, about loss. It's about people suffering in silence. Where's God in the midst of this tragedy? It stars a young lady played by Alea Ajigal, who is here today. And she is, dealing with a tragedy in her life. And the film takes place 5 years post this tragedy, but we really wanted to highlight that healing doesn't take place overnight, and that just because an event has happened 5 years ago doesn't mean persons are automatically healed. And that event in this particular case is Dorian, and so the character specifically, her family goes through Dorian, and so we look at life 5 years post Dorian to see how they are coping, and you realize it's not so pretty. And so the film just wanted to highlight.
What was the motivation behind this? What actually caused you to do this?
Yeah.
Did you write this?
Yeah. So I.
Why the heavy contemplation on something like this? I mean, I have to get in your brains. Yeah. That's what this is about right now.
So the film was written by Alexis Burrows and myself. We wrote it back in 2020. So, in 2020, it was Dorian hit in September, and then COVID hit, and we were in the middle of lockdown. So it just felt like this gray sky just was over the country, and those COVID dashboards that just kept coming every day. And we really wanted to just write something to give persons some sort of hope in the midst of all this darkness, in the midst of all this bleakness, where it feels like, will we ever even be able to go outside again? Because it just felt like we just kept getting hit by, the country just kept getting hit by one thing after the next. So that was the brainstorm or a brainchild for the film, and we just took that concept over the next few years to finish write it, and we went into production in 2022.
Aaliyah, talk to me about this. How'd you get involved in this? Because this seemed to be an excellent project. between Leonardo and Alexis being able to come up with a concept and whatnot. How do you get involved to commit yourself to being able to play such a pivotal role in it?
That's such a great question. Hi, Bahamas. This is Alea. You might recognize my voice from Saturday on Guardian Talk and Eye Opener, if you're familiar. But yeah, I got introduced to Leonardo through, I think you work with T-Day, and I am a Dundas baby. Shout out the Dundas, right? And Shakespeare in Paradise, period. So, of course, T-Day and I have worked together on different projects, and he introduced me to Leonardo. Leonardo reached out and was like, hey, I have this film I'm working on. Like, I want to just talk to you about it and I want you to read for it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do my little thing or whatever. I wasn't expecting, when you do an audition, that's just the key. You have to do your audition, set it, and forget it.
So he didn't call you and say, "Yeah, come on, do something for me." He went through the proper.
He went through the proper channels.
Oh my God!
He went through the proper channels.
Formality.
He did. And so we met, and then we talked about it, and then I read for it, and he was like, you know what? Let's just do it. And I was like, okay. And he offered me it then and there. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do my thing.
So talk to me about this now. Your character, what's the character's name?
Jasmine.
Jasmine. Your character, Jasmine, is going through mental issues, whether it's separation, whether it's whatever these post-traumatic issues that she's being able to grapple with. Mm-hmm. How were you able to kind of encapsulate that and really display that on film?
Well, truthfully to me, and to the viewers, I don't know if, we haven't said, but Howard and I have met before. And we met post-Dorian, actually shortly thereafter. I think it might have been going on maybe 9 days or so after.
Dorian,
yeah. And that was hell. I mean, look, let's just be real. That was trauma for the country, but especially for people in GB and Abaco and the Abacos. And for me, as an actor, especially because that was something so close to my heart, I had to do justice to what somebody in that situation would have felt like. And so I'm trying not to spoil it, but it's not about Dorian. I want to be clear, but she's a person who's lived through that. And you cannot live through something like Dorian and not be changed forever. Even as an onlooker, even the people in the Capitol here were shaken. And so that ripple effect has allowed me to tap into that, but also because I want to do justice to the story, I want to do justice to the character, to the Bahamians, to the people in GB and the Abacos. That's, you can't just go into that role half-stepping. You got to be prepared, look, this is heavy content, this is trauma, this is a person who's growing, she's young as well. So it's all of these things in tandem, how can I be as raw and as real as possible? And so I didn't want to feel like I was acting. I wanted her to feel like a person.
So did you have an opportunity to be able to speak to anyone? When actors get themselves prepared for a particular role, mm-hmm. and they're going to be able to step into something. Sometimes we hear people say they quote unquote channel persons, or they really being able to sit down and have good conversation with them. Mm-hmm. Those persons who would have experienced that. Did you have an opportunity to be able to talk with anybody from Grand Bahama or Abaco?
Right. Yeah. So what I did in terms of my process for Jasmine, I tapped into my experience as a person who was liaisons for the rescue missions in Dorian. Right. And that experience for me, I got to speak to people's families and people who survived the storm, who were looking for rescue. And I took that as inspiration. I didn't, because her story in particular is completely different, she's there, but also I didn't want to tap into somebody. And as a person who also goes to a conservatory, the one thing they do tell you is you don't tap into the raw emotion of an actual person. Mm-hmm. And that's just because that's trauma, and you never want to, if you have to redo the scene, which is what you have to do as an actor, you have to go through and stop, you do your scene, it's really heavy, you cut, then you have to reset to do it again. So it's not great as a practice to always tap into the trauma of an actual person. So I had to really I used the stories and the emotion, the feeling of what they had said to bring me there. But I just refused to put a person in that role.
I'm listening to this and I'm intrigued on it. When Leonardo, when you stopped me on church and being able to, I pick up the tickets, guys. The tickets are $20, and I got two, one for me, one for my wife. I'm sure my kids want to be able to go, so I got to get some more tickets, right? I normally try to forget about them, right? I do my best, but then I remember musical right there, right? And I got to
Right.
spend money on them. Praise
That's
God.
true.
Right? So I got to get some more tickets to be able to do that. But I believe that this is something that all of us want to be able to be a part of. One, the creative genius of a young Bahamian person who's actually stepping into this kind of a space. Now, I want to talk to you about this, that this is not an easy thing. This is not the process of development, the process of these particular things, and being able to create a space where professionalism can be able to thrive. You've done all this. You filmed this, you had to edit it, you put everything together,
Yep.
and now you're being able to show this. Talk to me about that process for you.
So that
Is this your first film?
So it's my second feature film.
Yeah.
My first one was Live Is Love, and that came out in 2019.
What make you want to do this?
That's actually a crazy question. I used to be a rapper back in the day.
Oh, no, hold on. I need you to spit some bars right now. Just go
And
ahead.
my brother actually passed away in a
Oh,
car
man.
accident. And I needed to make a music video. Well, I wanted to make a music video, but I couldn't afford to pay anyone. And I sort of just let my wife film me singing the song. And after I edited it, that was like really fun. This was 2017. And I sort of just picked up a camera after that standpoint and started playing around with it. Did my first short film in like 2018. And then by July 2019 was making a feature film. So I don't know how exactly I get into it because I wasn't married. I was in school for electrical installation, and then somehow my life got shifted into this world of becoming a filmmaker. And
You feel
where we are
feel
now.
fulfillment?
Oh, definitely. It's the best
So it's
job
purpose.
ever. Yeah, definitely. It's an interesting thing to reconcile because obviously wouldn't have been something that I would have done had my brother not died because it wasn't something that I was
It's
looking
crazy
to.
what you said
And
to
so
me.
it's like knowing that in him passing away, God had a plan for my life to go and make these films that glorify his name. It's an interesting thing to reconcile, but it reminds me of the story of Joseph. What you meant for evil, God meant for good. And, you just...
I won't
live it and know
get deep for
it's
2
good.
seconds. Last night there was a question that was asked to the entire grouping about how would you like to be remembered if this was your last chapter? How would you like to be remembered? And that was the one question. There was another question is something to do with legacy and how we view those particular things and purpose, right? And when it came to me, I had to say this, that for the hell I've been through in my life, because I had a plan. I had this kind of a concept and idea to say that this is what I want to do with my life.
Right.
I knew this is what I want to do with my life. And every time I try to get back to this is what I want to do with my life, I keep getting interrupted by whatever these particular external things are, which actually shown to be purpose pushing me in one direction or another. And so I came to a conclusion. The conclusion I came to is that I cannot concern myself with tomorrow. I have to work on what's in front of me right now and be diligent at what I'm doing right now because all of this is purpose. And when you pick up the camera, that was purpose.
Yeah.
Because this is fascinating to me, to find a young Bahamian boy from this society who parents or grandparents or family would say, boy, you need to go stop messing around with this thing and get a job. You around here, you're married, eh?
Definitely.
How to get you in? How you feed your wife? You better stop playing in there. And you persevere, push through, and been able to capture a story that generations from now, they could be able to tell, this is what's happened in this era. People don't even understand. This is fascinating to me that you actually did this. Because some people is talking though.
But they don't do.
Some people could talk a good game. No man, I getting ready. You see these people, you know these people. I getting ready to put this thing together. Never do it yet. But you actually did it. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to come out here and watch this movie. Participate in the life of a young man who had the vision enough to be able to encapsulate not only a time of significant national trauma, but the time on a micro perspective of the emotional trauma that persons are going through so we could remember those things. There are people living in Nassau right now from Abaco. He moved back home since the hurricane.
Yeah.
People living in Nassau right now from Grand Bahama, and he moved back, sends Dorian, and they have no intention to. And so this is an important thing to do. Let persons know how they can be able to get the pictures.
Yes.
I mean, the tickets.
Yes, so tickets are available on our website, newhillproductions.com/lookupchild. That's newhillproductions with an s.com/lookupchild.
And all this is you.
Yes, and you could purchase tickets there. You can purchase tickets at Bahamas. The office is open from 9 to 5. And you can also, if we ain't sold out, you can also purchase tickets at the door. On Saturday, April 26th at 7 p.m. at Bahamas Harvest Church on JFK.
Okay, so if you go to church right now, we can pick up some?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so you could be able to do that if you're in the area of JFK and you want to be able to do that. The tickets are what, $20?
$20, yes.
$20, and when is it going to be shown?
Saturday, April 26th, so that is Saturday coming.
This
3
Saturday?
days, yep,
That's
this
why I
Saturday.
had to tell you come. That's why I had to tell you come. I said come and let's talk about it.
Definitely.
I don't think you all know how these things is. I so like these things.
Yeah.
I like. Let me tell you something. I like people who go against the social grain. Now, everybody can't do this.
Yeah.
But I'm always intrigued by those persons who push back against the noise to do this. Yeah. Aaliyah, I've always been able to look at persons who are creative, who get into the Dundas. If you look at places like Germany, if you look at places like Italy, if you look at places like France and all these other spaces where they have these big porcelain and big cement statues, and they get these old buildings and the architecture is crazy. There's people who did that.
Yeah.
And the art is crazy because they were established as a society and they tapped into creativity. All right, and we get all our infrastructure, but that's not happening here.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of things that we need to have, but there are still people who tap it into creativity.
Yeah.
I got to be able to salute y'all.
Thank you.
Thank
Definitely appreciate
you.
it. It's definitely, for me, God ordained, because like I tell you.
Only Jesus could do
wasn't
this.
planned.
And your wife ain't hungry.
No, she ain't hungry.
Okay, praise God. That's what Hey,
said-
once your wife ain't hungry, praise God.
Like, I have 3 kids now. They ain't
You got 3 kids?
Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah.
you need to put a film on how you do that.
3
No, you
years
need- Congratulations, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
Ladies and gentlemen, I would support a young black man. Let him be able to do these things. I know all the Bahama Harvest team and all those persons who are at Bahama Harvest will be able to do this. This is a young black man of faith who stepped into something, who understands that through perseverance that he can be able to do those things through Christ, and he wants to be able to share his arts with the entire world. So go there and buy your tickets, man, either at JFK or the website he says is New Hill Productions.
Yes.
Is that New Hill Productions /
Look Up Child.
/lookupchild.com.
Yes.
And you could be able to get that thing done. So, Aaliyah, what else is on the table for you?
I was actually just about to jump in just to reply to something you said. The thing about the Bahamas is like, we do have a huge well of untapped talent that people always talk about, but we don't get the funding to
That's
actually
crazy.
pursue any of the things that we want to do. And I dare say actually that it's not against the social grain. I think the arts and acting and performance and the entertainment industry, that is integral to Bahamian culture. And I think that acting and performing and theater in the Bahamas is also something, like we have such deep ties and deep roots to that during the civil rights era and segregation in the Bahamas, as well as during, the fact that we were trying to be emancipated from slavery. Bahamians would put on so many different things. Like Junkanoo is an art form that is passed down and is taught. And again, we also need the funding for that. For me, though, on the agenda, I'm in school now, so I'm studying full-time to become an actor, which is crazy because I'm also in school to become a neurosurgeon and stem cell research scientist, but we move. So I'm going to 2 different schools at once, but I'm in London right now full-time.
Really?
Yes, I am. So I'm graduating next year in summer, fingers crossed. And I'm like right now just like gathering the funds. Every time I come back, it's like I get to like shed my skin. London is a totally different atmosphere. The culture is dramatically different.
Yeah.
And the way we do things here is so much different in like an amazing way. I find that people, and my mentor as well, Dr. Bethel, Nicolette Bethel, we constantly go back and forth about this because you find that countries have so much funding, but strangely enough, the magic of theater and what makes the magic, the theater, right? The acting, the performances, the music, the just everything in art, that essence is not present in these countries that actually have the funding. And so people come over to the Bahamas and then they see our work and then they're like, what the hell is going on? Why do we not have this? But why is it like so different here? And I keep having to tell my classmates, like, we do this for love of the game. We do this for love of the game. Like the fact that I have to even, and I'm at a conservatory very late. I just turned 26 and a lot of my peers are 5 years my junior. And that is because they have the funding, right? They have the knowledge to say, let me go to a conservatory, let me study. And the support to study. And it's just vastly different where I'm in my junior year as well at Columbia in New York, I'm doing a double major. So I'm studying biochemistry and sociology at the same time. And then I said, what I did was I applied there and I applied at Lambda. And I was like, I'm going to just, whoever gives me this acceptance, I'm going to go. And come to find out they both did. But of course, because we're familiar with the fact that we don't have the funding, we don't get the backing over here, it's like we have to go and still pursue like the traditional means of like becoming a doctor, becoming a lawyer, becoming an engineer, right? Like Leonardo had said, right, to support your passion. So it really is a matter of like you do this because you love it and you do this just because it brings you joy, but also because as you get older and you're in the arts, you realize how important and how integral it is to like the Bahamian culture and like to the foundation of the Bahamas, where like this is something that that's passed down. Yeah. So that's really on my agenda right now. I have some like photo shoots and stuff because of modeling here that I'm really excited to do. But I'm also really just looking forward to finishing up. This year we'll be showing our art and our work to like the agents and things like that. So I'm just really excited to get out there and be in the industry in the UK as well as over here.
It's great to see you again, Manalia.
Yeah.
All the best to you and your endeavors.
So much.
Leonardo, I want to be able to thank you again for being able to take this leap. Your second film, I know this is going to be a blockbuster, and I want to be able to encourage all those persons out there to pick up a ticket. You can go to either right there at Bahama Harvest Church on JFK, right there if you're in the area, or you can be able to go to New Hill Productions /lookupchild.com to find out more.
NewHillProductions.com /
NewHillProductions.com
/
All right.
Look Up Child.
All right.
And can I say one last thing?
Yeah, man, go ahead. I'm going to fight you.
So the film has actually received international recognition. So at the International Christian Film Festival, which is one of the biggest Christian film festivals in the world, we received nominations for Best Foreign Film, Best Supporting Actress, and Alea received a nomination for Best Lead Actress. And so, it's not just something that is resonating with Bahamians.
International Christian Film Festival.
Yes.
I've never heard about that before.
It exists.
I know the International Film Festival.
We got like 1 million film festivals.
That's true.
So
yeah.
But so that one is specifically for Christian, and it is.
And you got significant
the
recognition.
largest actually Christian film festival.
You got significant recognition.
Recognition. We got offered distribution. So it's not just resonating.
They offered you distribution.
Yes. We got a distribution offer.
This is crazy. How you just be so casual about the thing at the end of everything? I
just helping. I just realized I should probably, say
let
that the
people
film is
know
actually,
that this thing is recognized.
Yeah.
That not just people locally can be able to see that this is something that eventually will be able to go around the world. I got to commend you guys.
Thank you.
I commend you for being able to follow your passion, both of you. And I want to be able to encourage you to move towards those things and relentlessly do that, because this is needed in our society. The next generation needs to see that you could push and be able to develop your passion. All right, so that is Leonardo Newman, and the movie is called Look Up Child. It's going to be featured this week, Saturday, at Bahama Harvest Church, right there. What time?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. on April 26th, which is Saturday.
Yes.
April 26th, 7 p.m. at Bahama Harvest Church. You can be able to do those things and be able to get that. www.newhill newhillproductions.com/lookupchild. Get your tickets and be able to do those things. Shouts out to Leonardo. Shouts out to Alexis Burrows. Shouts out to Aliyah Ajikil.
Alea Ajigal.
Alea Ajigal. You know I was going to mess that up, right? So I'm being able to do all those particular things and continue to be able to get those things done. Guys, it's a good conversation. Whenever you're doing anything, just make sure, give me a call, and I'll be more than happy to put this out there for you, all right?
Thank you. Really
All right.
appreciate you having us.
Don't buy me. That's absolutely no problem. Okay, guys, quick commercial break. We're going to see you after this.
Foundation.
The Foundation with Howard Grant. We'll be back right after this.
The foundation.
What if I told you Wendy's has a new burger? With a flavor so secret, it's almost too delicious to handle. Well, now it's time to unlock that flavor. Try the new Sweet and Smoky Barbecue Cheeseburger. We can't tell you everything, but we can tell you that it's packed with flavor, including our secret barbecue sauce. Try the new Sweet and Smoky Barbecue Cheeseburger today. Available for a limited time.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
You try to rest, but roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers. For window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it, just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, the foundation. I wanted just to remind you before we get out of here about Spa Week for today and tomorrow. I'm definitely going to be able to let you guys know that. Leading into the 26th, which is Saturday. Spa Week is going to be there Spa Week 2025. They have 6 major packages that they want to kind of push to you. It's the Census package, it's the Calm package, is the All Is Well package, is the new Smooth package, Balance, and the Wave package. These are great opportunities for you to be able to tap into some stuff and make some things happen for you. The Census package is about $280, came all the way down from $335. That's the regular thing, and you can be able to save significantly during this particular time. Now, remember, we keep talking to you about the fact that you don't necessarily have to instantaneously kind of just be able to present this. You don't have 60 days or 90 days to be able to utilize this. You have 12 full months, 365 days before you can be able to, put that in there and say, hey, listen, I want to be able to get this particular thing done now. We know that you're busy. We know that things happen, and you want to be able to be in a space that you can truly enjoy this when you have an opportunity, right? And sometimes these things go with emotion. Sometimes these things go, I feel like getting like today, right? So if you're out there and you're in that kind of a space and you want to be able to do something special for your mother, you want to be able to do something special for the mother of your children, you want to do something special for your baby mother. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, however you categorize these particular things, or you want to be able to do something special for your father, right? The love of your life, your husband, all these particular persons. If you want, did I just separate the love of your life from your husband? It's too much, right? So if you want to be able to do something special for these particular persons, please go down there and give good consideration to this. They have some great persons at the front desk. Dwaynell, that's what she named, Dwaynell. Dwaynell and Mercedes is at the front desk right down there at Spa Week. And they'd be more than happy to assist you in those areas. And Miss McKenzie's in the back there. She's the director of the whole space. She'd be more than happy to assist you. You can go down there, get your nails done, right? Get your gel. They got the gel set. They got the tips that you could be able to do. Get your feet done. You can be able to get those things done. And all those persons, even if you're diabetic, they have specific products that are designed to ensure that you don't get the cuts and so forth and so on, because, you know, we understand those particular issues. So you can go down there and get those things taken care of, all the fungi and all those other things that you're being able to wrestle with. And you don't know who can do this. Baja Retreat Spa can definitely take care of that for you. So you want to be able to go down there and get those things done. The numbers again, 323-6711, 323-6711, or 544-1855, 544-1855. So some great stuff is down there, and we could be able to do that. I got to commend these people, man. Listen, this is what the foundation in this kind of a space is all about. Can I say this to you? I just want to talk like this. I'm fascinated talking to Leonardo. I really am. I'm fascinated because society has designed this particular concept where we're pushed into one of, 10, 15 jobs that are available in our society. And so they want to be able to cookie cutter. It's a cookie cutter concept that they want to be able to kind of shave the passion off, shave the indifference off, shave that kind of a feel, that desire to move in a different direction. They shave that off and they nestle you into one of the 15 categories, right? You work for the government, you're a police officer, now this is nothing to do with those persons who serve and find passion in this. But for the longest time, these are the only things that we've seen. And for persons to be able to find passion, a love, a desire, and they're being able to produce creative elements and present that as the main source of income for themselves and their family. Not that I don't know Leonardo's business, but I'm simply saying that it's not easy. Entrepreneurialism is not easy in this country. We struggle and fight. I got to have a whole show about this. We fight for capital. We fight for capital. And entities create these particular concepts and ideas after they've gotten money from the IMF or the World Bank, who's actually indicated to them that you have to bolster the middle class, that you have to bolster and ensure that small businesses can grow. You have to be able to ensure before you can get this money, we have to see whether or not you have a significant incline or increase to small businesses and small business development and ensuring that those persons are moving. So you take that money and like a baloney, you throw the wall, bop, with the expectation that these entities give you another credit line, give you some money, give you those particular things. But there's no care and passion poured into these things. There's no elements incorporated in our education to ensure that persons could understand that you can live your passion out. There's nothing. All this is a factory line of the exact same things. And the same mindset is regurgitated. That's what it is. And it's an exhausting thing. It's an exhausting thing to believe that we could change in this country if we keep doing the exact same thing. We do in education the exact same way. I read an article 2 days ago, right? When I say read an article, I read some information and watched a clip of a shift that's happening in Japan and other spaces right now, where young children are being taught by artificial intelligence. Now, the argument is that they would have no need for teachers anymore if AI continues to be able to teach them these things. They're teaching these young kids how to use AI, and they're preparing them for the inevitability of the future. And they're looking to be able to incorporate this in the curriculum. And we still having a conversation about how much a textbook costs. I'm confused. I'm confused. I am. I'm bewildered and baffled that we could be so close to what's happening with technology right up under our eye socket, and yet so far from the application thereof and understanding how does this apply to my culture, my people, my position, my time, my existence, my now. How? And you're out here and you swear that you're doing a big job, a good job, that you sit down before cameras and you kind of fumble through and muddle through a presentation that you all night in the bathroom, you hold this paper up and read it and still stammering when you get on the television because something in your soul say this ain't right. But you do it. And you present in such a manner with the expectation that our country remains the same. We have to change this course. We have to change our course. The world is changing if you care to look, if you care to lift your head up from the rat race for existence and survival in our community. The world is shifting. And we are in a strategic position in this nation to be able to invite people to join us, to create a safe space, a haven for them, and charge them for it. We are strategically in a space that we can be able to afford, whether it's as a result of the tariffs, whether it is as a result of the indifference of the leadership of Donald Trump, that we now put ourselves in the position that we see ourselves useful. We've done it in the past. In the midst of prohibition, in the midst of it, when the desire for being able to drink rum was rich, when fellas was in the boondocks creating moonshine and officers running up on them, we created a space in this country for rum runners. Why is it, and I had to be able to I want to talk about something before I get out of here. Why is it that we find ourselves in these positions? When it comes to negativity, we perpetuate those ideas. We could find a way to get to, through illicit means, to the objective of whatever our heart is saying to us. The heart above all things is evil. And while you're listening to your heart to pursue that evil thing, you believe that this course and action, but you pursued it. You believe it's the right thing to do. And the question I have is, why can't we just take these elements, this passion, and why? If there is a potential war and we're seeing that there is sort of a pulling back from United States of America, and we're seeing President Trump take on this kind of position to indicate that he's seeking to play nice and they're going to be playing nice with China and so forth and so on. And the cat's already out of the bag. And so this could be irrevocable damage done to America. America only represents 12% of the Chinese income. Globally, 12%. Out of 350, I don't even understand how they thought this just made sense. I don't understand. I don't understand how Donald Trump and all those persons around him thought that this made sense. And I listened to a podcast with a noted, I think he is a statistician, a noted statistician. He said, and this could be able to indicate to you that there's no democracy in America. That the decisions that are coming out of America at this particular point is coming, whether it's under duress or otherwise, from one man. And being able to execute those things by executive order and not being able to go to the Congress. And I'm listening to these things and I'm understanding. Your population, mass consumers, 348 million, and going up against a population of billions. How does it even make sense? How does it even make sense? And so I want to be able to talk like that and be able to have this kind of a conversation with you. But I got to be able to say this to you. When we get back, I want to play a little clip for you. And playing that clip, I want to be able to give some clarity to some things for a show that we had on Tuesday. All right? A quick commercial break. When we get back, we can get into it.
Foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
The Foundation with Howard Grant. We'll be back right after this.
The foundation. The foundation.
Pinda has a new line, the Sky series of porcelain. It comes in 4 colors, Sky Noir, Sky Gris, Sky Glance, and this one, Sky Azure. As the name suggests, you would think it has a strong blue component in the overall coloring of the porcelain. The blue feature runs more or less the center of the tile, and that's surrounded by light shades of gray. The Sky Azure, like the others in the series, needs to be seen to be appreciated. Stop by Pinda Tile and have a look at Sky Azure, one of the 4 in the Sky series.
Contact Da Vinci Printing Innovators today for all your printing needs. Customized receipt books, NCR forms, invitations, event tickets, program booklets, business and ID cards, flyers, posters, and banners. There's scanning, printing, lamination, and binding services. Also, a variety of office supplies. No design? No problem. Dedicated graphic designers are ready to serve you. Da Vinci Printing Innovators, located in the Village Road Shopping Plaza. Stop in or call 677-2922 or browse services online at www.davinciprinting242.com, where printing is an art.
Make this Mother's Day extra special with Kelly's House and Homes Mother's Day sale Friday, May 2nd through Saturday, May 10th. Enjoy 20% off a beautiful selection of dinnerware, glassware, luggage, silk flowers, and picture frames, except on net items. These are all perfect and stylish gifts to show Mom just how much she's loved. Hurry in and take advantage of Kelly's House and Homes 20% off Mother's Day sale Friday, May 2nd through Saturday, May 10th. Of love from Kelly's House and Home.
Always on the go? Missed a show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. I want to play something from you from my Tuesday show with Professor Rupert Pinder, because I got a couple texts that said to me that there was some indifference played. They said to listen back to Zhivago's show, and there was a question posed to Zhivago that was contrary to what was actually being discussed, right? And I listened to see whether or not there was going to be clarity, because I didn't have an opportunity to actually listen to it. And so Zhivago answered the question that was given to him, but it was out of context to what the conversation was being had on the show. I wanted you to be able to listen back to this on Tuesday's show. Go ahead.
Small to go at it by itself.
They can't.
Right? The reality of it here is, and again, I'm inserting more or less in terms of my own personal views on some things. The reality of it here is that CARICOM, as a body, I think has been nothing more than a chat shop. We are very good in terms of espousing great academic theories and that sort of stuff, but what is it that we have really done in terms of on the ground? Right? Look at it. The minute that there is a catastrophic event in one of the countries, everybody come together in terms of, hey, look, we need to establish a catastrophic insurance. Yes, we may have one in place, but the question is that, what have we done in terms of really polling, etc., to really be able? And so the minute these things fade away from the news and that sort of stuff, there's very little that is in. Maybe somebody published a paper somewhere or whatever, you can dust it off a shelf somewhere. But in terms of how does the rubber really hits the road? Now, what is happening now is that we've gotten some leniency with respect to these containers, etc., where the U.S. is backed off. Fine, yes, and it's welcome news to the extent that has a knock-on effect in terms of the inflationary pressure. But how is it that so many years later, we're still not established very efficient trade routes? We have not looked in terms of how we can source a lot of the goods within the region, etc., and so on and so forth. Listen, if we were to look in terms of just purely from an economic standpoint, so I don't want nobody to misconstrue in terms of what I'm saying, and this is just purely move cocaine from Colombia very efficiently through these markets. Why can't we move goods? How is it that herb or marijuana grown in Jamaica, whatever, could find its way all around and so on and so forth, but yet we cannot move legitimate goods? It seems like we need to get the dose economics, because the cartels are really, in effect, an economic system. That's what cartels are.
I think you missed the entire concept of what he said. He didn't say... I listened to the beginning of Zhivago's show only after I get a few texts that say, Howard, Zhivago doesn't agree with your guess. Howard Zhivago. No, they're colleagues, They're colleagues in University of Bahamas, and I'm sure that they both hold each other in high regard. You don't just ascend to a position without being able to go through the scrutiny and going through the work of being able to acquire that. Professor Rupert Pinder is a trusted national voice. And this is why he actually was able to say that, hey, listen, I don't want nobody to take this out of context. This is my opinion. And CARICOM has been nothing more than a chat shop. And I agree with him. CARICOM has been nothing more than a chat shop. And I provoked that conversation by being able to say, even when our prime minister sat at the head of CARICOM, the length and breadth of a conversation that they had in terms of reform that needed to happen in Haiti was a relentless conversation, and people traveling from here and there and all over the place to only come back to say that we want to help Haiti, but it has to be a Haitian-led solution. They have theoretical concepts and ideas that they regurgitate on an annual basis, on a daily, monthly, whenever we find that kind of a cycle that they come back to the public. they only regurgitate those theoretical concepts that they've been talking about in their silos for a long time. But the point is that professor was making is that what is the matter with the application on the ground? What's the matter? What's the matter with being able to, why can't we find ourselves as a unit, as a nation, as nations within the Caribbean that represent 45 million people? Why can't we find ourselves being able to feed ourselves? Why can't there be a route where food and goods and material and this and that and all those things could be able to circulate, and we support each economy within this particular sector, as opposed to our relentless dependency and being able in America and in China and elsewhere? Why can't we find ourselves in a position of true growth and development on our own people in this region? That's his point. Not that we need to, I'm sure that he was just flippant as he said, we need to engage the drug cartel to tell us how to do these particular things. There was no suggestion that the government does this. It was only for the purposes of the conversation and giving a contrast to the illicit means of how drugs, guns, and money get around the Caribbean. They find their objective. And those people that we hold in significant regard and elevate them, have placed them in positions and they can't get nothing done other than talk. That's all this was. They're saying, actually calling Pablo them and saying, Pablo, listen, man, we need you to help us with being able. No, that's not what this was. And you took it out of context. So let's be decent, man. And I don't know whether or not Chivago listened to the show, but let's be decent. Let's be decent. There needs to be no condemnation from a man who actually committed years and years of service to find himself in a position that's teaching the next generation about economics. For you to be able to scrutinize him because he gave you a contrast that all of us can see and understand. Be decent. As the show today, guys, I'm supposed to be able to have Ms. Johnson from the Postmaster General from the Post Office being able to talk with us tomorrow for an hour at the top of the show, being able to talk to us about what's happening at the Post Office. So I'm hoping that she's still good with me. So I'm hoping that she could be able to do that with us and have a good conversation. I am grateful. I am truly grateful for the opportunity to speak to you on a day-to-day basis. And I'm hoping that you're edified, and I'm hoping that you're at least engaged to kind of have this kind of a conversation with me. All right? I'm grateful for that, guys. Thank you so very kindly. I want to see you tomorrow right here on The Foundation.
Foundation.